Hello everyone and welcome back to another AFK journey video. In this video we're going to be going over the whale defenses I'm going to be running for this week of Supreme Arena. Now keep in mind this is the final week of Supreme Arena and there are only going to be a couple of days really in it before we get the new season. But if you guys want to try these defenses, then I think these can be a really good option for you. Okay, so for the team number 1 we have Maulers with Harak. If you're going to run Harak, it is really important that you run him on the Mauler buff tile. But then the question is, what other heroes complement Harak the best? So I think Harak does really well if, for example, you can have a Rainier in front of the Harak, or Thorin soul pacting protecting the Harak, basically making him even more of a hyper carry, buffing him up or giving him more damage reduction. But I think Sonya can be a good buffer for him as well, and that is what we're trying in this team comp. As you can see, we have Sonya buffing up the Harak. But the thing I'm worried about whenever I run Sonya is I'm worried that she might just be killed before she can cast her ultimate, and in which case her buffs are going to disappear onto my allies and she kind of doesn't really get much value done for your team. But I think she has maybe a good chance of surviving here, because we're going to have Shakira as a major tank of the team. With the Valor Shield spell, he's going to be very tanky, he's going to be unaffected, and the Harak is going to get the other value of the Valor Shield because he's going to have a shield and get a haste buff. And that hopefully is going to allow Harak to get a kill and begin snowballing, because with both the shield protection and also the haste for more like offensive factor. We have this chain sort of lineup because I wanted to get the advantage of Smoky Charms and I wanted the advantage of Coco Charms. So Shakira has the advantage of the Coco Charms getting the damage reduction and shield at the beginning of the match and also energy on hit, and Coco has the advantage of the Smoky Charms getting that value as well. Like, I was originally thinking maybe keeping them in the hidden tiles, but I don't think there's as much value of keeping them hidden as there is of just getting the actual charm effect onto them. And so I think this is going to be better. Shakira, he probably is going to be able to cast his ultimate in this setup. Definitely you might be thinking, why not run something like Frontline Spell in a team like this? Because if Harak and Smoky teleport into the enemy's team, you're basically going to guarantee the activation of Frontline, and it can be strong. However, the problem with Frontline, I've talked about it before, is if the enemies bring Maulers, then they're going to teleport first, because on offense you have like the teleportation and ultimate casting priority, and so they can teleport into your team, and then my two heroes are just going to teleport on top of them on my side, and I might not activate Frontline for most of the fight, and then it feels like you're not getting any value from your artifact. Valor Shield also provides good stats, like just the raw stat distribution, and provides attack and haste, and then defenses is pretty good. So I'm happy with this team. Sonya's buffing up the Coco as well to hopefully allow Coco to have a better chance of surviving. I am worried that Coco can get killed before she can cast her ultimate. Same with Sonya. Basically, both Sonya and Coco, if they can cast their ultimate, you're basically guaranteeing the win for your team. But if they can't, then they go down without providing that much value for you. But either way, like the Smoky healing and attack buff for Harak, it will give him the kill threat, and Shakira with the Valor Shield is going to be really tanky. So I am a fan of this team. I think it will be pretty good. And definitely though, if you want to run a different Harak team and you have Harak built, just run him with Maulers, and like a lot of Maulers do well with him. But from my experience, I find Smoky on the buff tile along with Harak on it, they end up doing really, really well. Now, this map is a bit unfortunate, because if we had a tile in front of the Harak here, I would probably definitely be running Rainier. Like, I like Rainier as a buffer rather than Sonya, Rainier in front of the Harak, because that is going to give him the attack buff from the charms and also the damage reduction from the position swap. Even in this position, rather than Sonya, you could go for Rainier, and it wouldn't be a bad choice. It could position swap the Harak, and that will give him the value right from the beginning of the match. Because the problem with Sonya is that she needs to cast her ultimate to get the permanent effect of her buffs, whereas Rainier at the beginning of the match, as long as there is a hero on that opposite symmetrical tile, which there probably will be because of the buff tiles, then you're definitely going to get the value off with Rainier, and that is why I prefer Rainier. So Rainier in front of Harak would be great, but there is no room for that in this team, and I wanted him to get the effect of Valor Shield, so I couldn't, for example, swap around and put Rainier in front of Harak here. But you could try that. Like, definitely, I don't think that is a bad choice. It is something to consider, but for me, I think this is going to be a pretty good team, and I'm hoping Sonya is going to be able to survive for long enough to cast her ultimate. Okay guys, moving on to team number 2. So team number 2 is going to be my Mauler team with Tasi on the instant ultimate cast tile in the rearmost position with the resonating spell. I think the best hero to be on this energy tile is Tasi, and the best artifact is the resonating spell. Even without the instant ultimate, resonating spell is great for Tasi. It gives her solo potential, but if she can cast her ultimate at the beginning of the fight, she's going to get the attack buff from Resonating Spell. We also have Lily May because the opponent will also have their energy buff tile. And that is why I think it will be... Wait, will they even have an energy buff tile? I'm assuming in this map, even on offense, you'll have an energy buff tile. And that is why I've gone for Lily May. But, if they don't, then I don't really need to have her here. But I put Lily May in the team with the assumption that they're also going to have an energy tile, and then I'm going to be able to interrupt them. We have Mikola, and we're actually going to have a pretty good odds of controlling the On Arena. Because if you look at my formation, we already have 3 heroes in the middle of the field, and then hopefully Odie and Tasi will be able to teleport in as well. Odie does really well on the Mauler buff tiles, and Tasi, of course, does really great on them as well. And Odie is one of the best heroes to give this other effect, which this other effect is ranged heart. This is not going to be an instant ultimate cast, so just watch out for that. This is just going to boost the attack speed and also grant life drain, and who better to have that on than a hero like Odie, who relies so much on his normal attacks for his damage. And with the Mauler buff child, that's going to give him survivability. We have a lot of kill threat here, Tasi, Odie, and Lily May. And like I mentioned, if the opponent doesn't bring Lily May, then my Tasi is going to do a lot of work right from the beginning of the match and begin cycling her ultimate, because after casting the first ultimate, Tasi kind of goes out of control. And we're probably going to control the On Arena for even more buffs. So this is my plan for the Maulers with Tasi. I think Tasi is the best hero to put on the buff tile. But definitely other hero choices could be Dunling or Diurnal type comp. But then again, Lily May is going to counter it but basically Diurnal in the back. Or you could even have Taylene in the back tile for an instant cast ultimate of Taylene, which is also very strong. These are basically the really strong heroes to have on the Insta Ultimate cast tile. But I'm definitely happy with this one as well. Or you could even go for Harak. You could put Harak into this team if you wanted to with the immediate ultimate cast. But I think overall Tasi is going to be the best one to have here. And I'm having Lily May because I'm assuming on offense they're also going to have the energy tile. Like always up until now you've had symmetrical defense positions. However, this is a little bit awkward because when you look at it, like here we have a symmetrical lineup and here we have a symmetrical map as well. But here it is not showing that actually. So I might not even need the Lily May here, but I went for it regardless. Yeah, this is a little bit weird. So this map, like, but honestly, if the opponent doesn't have an insta cast, well, they'll just bring Lily May to counter my Tasi. But they're kind of heavily disadvantaged, and definitely I think this is the map where you want to run Mikola if you're going to run Mikola in a team, because look at this, you have a huge advantage of controlling the On Arena compared to the opponent who doesn't have any tiles inside of the On Arena at the beginning of the match. Okay, but anyway, this is the team that I'm planning to run over here. And moving on to team number 3. Team number 3 is the Hypogean Celestial team. We're going to be trying running it with Bonnie, because Bonnie does well in these Taylene stall-oriented teams with Forrester, Taylene, Damien, because we can debuff the enemies and then Taylene can eventually finish them off. We have Bonnie on this tile. You might think, oh, this is a little bit dangerous because she might die, because like the opponents could begin walking up to her or begin attacking her right from the beginning of the match. But the thing is, with the Nightfall shift, which will activate pretty early on in the match, and also Scarlita shielding from above, I think Bonnie is going to be able to survive, and then she will go for Nightfall shift and probably jump over this wall and get into a more safe position where she can be healed by Damien. That is basically my plan. Hopefully it is going to work, something like that. If Bonnie ends up dying too early and you watch your replays, then you can change around the positioning to make her, to keep her more protected, basically. But for right now, I am going to try this. I'm going to go for Verdant Spell because Verdant does really well with giving damage reduction to the Fresto and giving the energy recovery to your mage like Taylene. and to Bonnie, the marksman, it would give her attack speed, which is also really good. So I think this team is going to be really good. I think this was one of the best ways I could incorporate Bonnie into the team. I would definitely like to run Bonnie in this Tasi team and then not run Lily May, for example. That can be a good option that you can try. But because I'm running Odie on this team, I think that is pretty good as well, and he makes a really good use of that back tile. But if I was running Bonnie here, it would be like with my main account defenses, where I have Bonnie basically where Odie is, because giving her that attack speed and also giving her the Mauler buff tile, I think will be important. Anyway, this is gonna, Verdant Spell, and then we have Damien. Rather than Damien, I was thinking about Ludovic, and honestly, Ludovic would be a really good option, and I was really considering it. However, the thing is, you can't get a good value of his charms. Like, I would want them in front of Taylene, but then, like, it becomes awkward, because then the Frestos cannot remain on the same row, and that is kind of an issue. I mean, maybe what you could do is you could go for some weird sort of comp like this. Then you have the damage reduction for the Bonnie, and then you also have Ludovic in front of Taylene. Like this, something like this could work. But honestly, I think the other team formation that we have is going to be better. And you could try Ludovic here, or Ludovic off in the corner, or just go for Damien. But Damien has the most stall factor, because he's never going to be removed from the battlefield. He's going to be in play until your team dies. And so Scarlita has a better chance of coming down and actually being able to deal true damage to the opponents. And that is why I'm going basically for Damien, because Fresno, Taylene, Scarlita, Damien, these are the heroes which I want. They should definitely be surviving up until Scarlita coming down for a true damage. My Bonnie might end up dying, but honestly speaking, I think Bonnie could survive pretty well as well, with the Nightfall shift and then the healing from Damien that can come down, and the Scarlita shielding. But anyway guys, those are basically the defenses I'm planning to run for this week of Supreme Arena. As for the heroes, which I would like to somehow incorporate, but I just can't find a good place for them, Lenya always does pretty well on the Mauler buff tiles, if she can be fit into one of those teams. Diurnal does well in Dunlinger Diurnal comp for Hypos and Celestials. However, I do think it is more counterable with Maulers on buff tiles. I think this team we have, this Hypos and Celestial team, is going to be a little bit harder for the opponent to clear with Mauler buff tiles. That is why I'm running it. Apart from that, like Ludovic we're not running, and that is kind of bad, and Thorin, because both of these are really good PvP heroes, but I just couldn't find a good place for them. And Rainier we're not running. That also hurts a lot, because Rainier is really good. However, here you cannot get Rainier to be position swapping your backline allies. In this map you could do it, but like I mentioned, you can't have it on your rearmost ally. It would have to be on this other tile for Rainier to be positioned in front of them. And if Rainier is just like in the middle of them, he doesn't get the full value, because he doesn't give that attack buff from his charms, which is pretty valuable. In this map, you could definitely go for a Rainier comp, and like on my main account, I'm running a Rainier in front of Odie comp for this Team 3. However, if you want to run Fresto, this is really the only, this is the best map to run Fresto, right? Honestly speaking though, you could be running Fresto into this map too. You could easily control the on arena. This is a really strange map. This is just a really strange map. I don't like, it is like the first time we've had Supreme Arena where the teams are not symmetrical, and that's what I've realized, that even if I give you guys a formation ID, you're not actually going to get, like, this is going to be misaligned, because it will not allow you to save this. Like, I have actually made a formation here, but for example, when you look at the team number 2, it's all jumbled up, because this is not actually a map that exists, this setup that we have here. This is only for, like, the final week of Supreme Arena. So, yeah, I think you guys are just going to be better off if you manually enter the different heroes here for this week's formation, because otherwise you could end up like copying my formation and not realizing that your team 2 is going to be off. Because yeah. But anyway guys, that is going to be it for this video. You guys can share your thoughts about all these teams that I'm running, or if you have any other ideas for teams that you're planning to use or you think would be improvements or even better, then you can share them as well. And if you want to talk to me more or ask me any questions, you can join my AFK Journey Discord server. There's a link to that in the description of this video and in the description of all of my videos, and also a link on my channel page. But anyway guys, thanks for watching. That was going to be it for this video. I'll hopefully see you in the next one, and until then everyone, peace out for now.